Lesson 5, Part 4. We're going to build our last app for Xcode for Beginner. This lesson covers basically all of our lessons we have learned from Lesson 1 to 5. To be a good Xcode programmer, it is a good idea to reuse codes. Try to use code snippets that is already created. If you do not have the code snippets, I recommend that you start building the snippets library. If you wanted to learn the code snippets, try watching Lesson 4, Part 2, Code Snippets for Xcode. Now let's start building our complete app. We're going to build a complete app using home screen with two inner pages. This is the home screen here. When a drawer icon is clicked on, or the user pushes that drawer icon, the drawer shifts from left to right with a few menus. The GUI components we are creating are as follows. First, we're going to build a background image, which is the home screen first layer. We're going to build a UI label, which is called building a complete app. We're going to build a left drawer button, which is right here. And also, with the left drawer button, a left drawer button method, which when a user pushes the button, the push method called touch up inside, when that button is pushed, it slides the drawer from left to right. We're also going to build on the left drawer button the lesson 1 button and lesson 2 button. When a lesson 1 is pushed, it goes to here. And then when the lesson 2 button is pushed, it goes to page 2 here. On each page there will be a home button. So when we push that, it goes to the home screen. And that's what we're building today. And let's get to Xcode. We're going to create a new Xcode project. And we're going to create a single view application, Xcode for Beginner, complete app. And then we're going to choose iPhone and hit next. Then we're going to just create it into the desktop and create. You can save your Xcode project anywhere you like, but I normally save my project on the desktop. Next, let's start creating an image folder. We're going to create a folder, and it's called a new group, and I'm going to create the folder images. And in there, all the images I created, I copy all these files here. I would pretty much select them and drag and drop into here by grabbing this and dropping it into the images folder and making sure that there's a check mark, copy items into destination groups folder, and click finish. When you do that, pretty much it drops all the images into the folder here. And each one of these images is right here. So that's the first thing we're going to do, is to make sure that we have all the images we needed. We're going to go to the viewcontroller.h. So in the viewcontroller.h, enter your first line of code. You will enter that underneath the line at interface and view controller, and in between the curly bracket, enter UI view main view, which is the first layer. Then go to the viewcontroller.m and do this. Add the first layer under the sentence super view did load, and use the comments, which is the first layer or the home screen. We're going to put in main view. And how did I get main view? Well, it's in the object that I created as a UI view, and the first view is main view. We're going to have to allocate equals UI view allocate, and we're going to init with frame cgrect make. The position is 0.0, 0, 320.0, 960.0, and then we're going to go ahead and close that over, and then we're going to go to the next line, main view dot background, and the background color is going to be equal to UI color, and that's going to be white color. And then the last thing is we're going to close it with a self.view, add subview. We're going to create the object main view. This is the first layer of the object. Then the next thing is we're going to add in a background. So background image for home screen will be UI image view, and we're going to name this background image view, which equal UI image view, and then allocate init with frame, and we're gonna make cg rec make, and this is going to be 0.0, 53.0, 320.0, and 568.0. And then we'll go ahead and close it with a bracket, semicolon, over. We're going to make the background image view dot image equals UI image named. Remember, we copied the image name, and it's called the home screen, which is this one here. This is the home screen. And so we go back to here, and we pretty much pass that to the home screen .png. Then we close it with a semicolon. Then the next one is put this in the main view, because remember, we're adding it to the main view, which is this background will be your main home screen view, and we're going to add this to the sub view. Okay, and the sub view name is going to be called background image view. Okay, and let's run it, and I'll show you what I mean by that. We are going to see that we just finished the home screen. We built the home screen page. The next thing we're going to do, we are building a left drawer button. The left drawer icon must be added to the UI view. What you are viewing is a layering system on the main view. So this is the main view here, right here. So what you have is the main view UI view canvas on the home screen. This is the UI view, which is the main view, which is created on the viewcontroller.h and viewcontroller.m file in Xcode. On the home screen, there's a left drawer button and an image of the button right here. Once a user pushed the button, it calls a method or action. That action is to slide the drawer from left to right, meaning the left drawer button will move to the right. So let's start building this button and drawer sliding method. What you will be learning is the concept of image layers and methods. Don't worry, in the beginning it's a bit hectic to grasp. Even I have to do a few times to grasp this lesson. But once you program this a few times, you will get used to it. Then you'll get it. Later on, you'll be using the same UI interface and build it in additional pages or view controllers. Let's start creating the left drawer button and then the left drawer image view. So going to the viewcontroller.h, you'll be inside this interface, at interface, underneath main view, and we're going to add in UI button, and the UI button object, which is a left drawer button, and we're going to add in a UI image view, and that's going to be the left drawer image view. And when you declare here on the H, you have to go to the M. So going to the viewcontroller.m, the first layer is going to be UI button, which is going to be your left drawer button. And what it's going to happen is the first layer is a canvas layer. So you would want it to have the main view and the background to be the first thing, and then on top of the UI image view, which is the background view, on top of it will be your UI button. The background, which is the home screen, will be your first layer, and then your button will be the second layer. It will be on top of your main view and also on top of the background. Okay, so you go back to here, type in UI button, left drawer button. Then we're going to go ahead and add in these buttons here. So left drawer button is left drawer button. There it is. Since you declared it, you just type it in and it's going to auto-populate. So what's next is you space equal to the UI button with type UI button type custom, and we're going to close it with a semicolon. Next is left drawer button again dot frame, which is going to equal to CG rect make, and this one is going to be 0.0 tab over 2.0 tab over 50.0 tab over 50.0, and then we're going to close a semicolon. And so the next one is going to be a method, which is left drawer button again, and this one is going to we're going to set the image to, and we're going to pass that name, image name, and it's going to put at, and then a quote, left drawer button dot png, and we're going to close it with a bracket, and then we're going to type in for state UI control state normal, and we're going to close that with another bracket and then semicolon over. The next one will be another method called left drawer button. This one we're going to add target, and we're going to self this with, and then we're going to add the selector, and the selector will be left drawer button clicked. This is the method when the left drawer is clicked, what happens, and I'll show you that in a minute. For control events, which is going to be UI control event touch up inside, and then we're going to close that with a bracket, square bracket, and then a semicolon, and then over. The last thing we're going to have to do is it's going to be main view, and we're going to add this to the sub view, and this is going to be on the left drawer button. So what it does is, so it adds a layer, the UI button, on top of the main view, which is your home screen. Okay, that's what it does. The next one is you're going to add a left drawer image, right? A left drawer image. And what is that? Well, a left drawer image is not going to be put on top of this main view. It's going to be on a separate view, and this is how it's going to work. We will put it here. So what happens is this layer is going to be here. We're going to add the left drawer image is left drawer image view equal, and then we put in UI image view. We're going to allocate, and we're going to init with frame CG rect make, and this time we're not going to show the left drawer yet unless the left drawer button is clicked on, which the action is going to make a left drawer button clicked to be enabled where your left drawer image view will be sliding over. I'll explain to you in a minute. So in this way, I'm going to put it on a negative 200.0 tab over 0.0 tab 200.0. You tab over to the next last line is 576.0 semicolon and over. The next one here is the left drawer button dot image. Then we're going to equal to UI image view image name at quote, and the image name is going to be left drawer image dot png. You close quote and close a square bracket, semicolon, and over. So what this does is it passed your drawer image to the left drawer image.png, which is right here. So you go back to viewcontroller.m, and then the third line will be left drawer image view dot user interaction enabled equal to true, and we'll use all the capital true. Once you use all the capital true, make sure throughout all your coding there's going to be a capital TRUE. And the last one is we're going to put that to the self.view. We're going to add that to the subview left drawer image view. We're going to go ahead and close that with a semicolon, enter. So what it means is, so now you just added another view layer, not the main view, which is your home screen, but another self.view, which is another layer of its own called left drawer image view. So what's next is we're going to try and test this, because since we created the left drawer button, we had an action. And if you didn't create a method, you're going to have this error right here, undeclared left drawer button method. So let's go ahead and declare the method. Once you build the left drawer button, you declare and you define it, and you gave it a method, an action called left drawer button clicked, then you have to add a method. So what we're going to do is go to the view controller.h, go there, and what we do here is we're going to space down after all these GUI components that we just created, and we created a method outside of the interface, and that's going to be dash void, tab over, and you type in left drawer button click on the H controller, then go back to the M controller. Under view did load is your beginning, all the GUI components is on the super view did load. We're going to go ahead and go after this statement, and you're gonna go down and you can add the method of left drawer button clicked for your UI left drawer button. And from here, the method, since you declared it, you have to define it, and then after defining, you have to pass the left drawer button clicked to a method called left drawer button click. You know that you have to type in the left drawer button click, you have to press enter and write a statement. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a curly bracket enter, and inside that statement you're going to tell it what action it's going to do. And that's how you build first the action and call that action to this method right here. It's a little confusing in the beginning, but once you understand the concept, you build it a few times, it's going to be very easy after that. So in here, we're going to have two statements. There's going to be an if and else statement, and I'll explain to you. I'm going to type it in. I'm going to type this whole thing in. Don't worry about it. Once I work on this a little more, you see how this takes place. So here we go. So we're going to add in a if condition, and if the left drawer button, which we created right here, left drawer button is selected, then we're going to press enter and create another condition there. And in the if left drawer button dot is selected, then you're going to create a statement that is left drawer button dot selected, which is equal to false. And I'll explain to you as soon as I finish typing this. Enter, and then we're going to create UI view with the begin animations, and it's going to pass the at shift left, okay, shift left, then the context is nil, and we're going to close it with the bracket, semicolon over. Then we're going to create another UI view that's going to be set animation duration, and it's going to set to 0.75 and close that with the square bracket, semicolon over, and then we're going to go main view dot center, and we're going to go CG rect point make, pass it with two CG point make. We're going to pass that with the main view dot center dot x, and we're going to have a minus 200 dot 0 comma, and with the for the main view dot center dot y, and we're going to close it with the parenthesis and then the semicolon, and then we're going to press enter, and then the next one will be left drawer image view dot center equals CG point make, and we'll pass that coordinate with the left drawer image view dot center dot x, which is going to give you 200 dot 0, and we're going to then we're going to type in left drawer image view dot center dot y, close parenthesis and semicolon, enter. The last one we have to do is make sure we pass the UI view and commit animations and close. Now, once the if condition is written, then you're going to have an else condition. By the way, the UI view is spelled wrong. You see, you spell view with the capital view. So now this is one statement. It's saying that if the left drawer button is selected, there's a first condition. If the left drawer button is false, which has not been selected, then it's going to stay the same. Everything will be not shifting at all. But else, the condition on this is, the condition on this one is called the left drawer button is selected, and it is true that it's selected, then this statement occurs, which will now shift the left drawer image from left to right, and this is how we'll create it. And after all of this, I'll explain to you and I'll run the test and you'll see. Begin animation at, and we're going to shift this, shift right, and the context is nil, and empty, close bracket, nil, and then close bracket, and then semicolon over, and then we'll create another UI view. And this one is going to set animation duration to 0.75. We're going to close it with a square bracket, semicolon over. And now we're going to make the main view center, and we're going to pass that with CG point make, and then we're going to create main view dot center dot x will be plus now. You see, now we're going to move that over 200 points over. Then we're going to create the main view dot center dot y, which then closes the parenthesis and then semicolon over. And then the last two lines will be the left drawer image view is now center, and we're going to pass the coordinates CG point make, and then we're going to make the left drawer image view become center on the X, and then plus 200 dot 0. Then on the Y, it's going to be left drawer button image view, and we're going to center that with a Y. And then we're going to close it with the parenthesis, semicolon, and then over. The last thing we're going to have to do is we're going to add it to the UI view and commit the animations. And then we'll close it with a semicolon. Okay, so what does that do? Well, let's go ahead and run it and show you what I did here as the left drawer button method with the if condition and else condition, and then also creating all these GUI components. Here we go, and I'm going to run it for you to see if it actually really running, if it's working or not. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and press play. Okay, so when I ran it, I had 2 commas on this main view dot center. So it gave an error. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just delete 1 comma, and then the error goes away, and I'm going to run it again. And so once you run it again, the build was successful. Okay, so we got the simulator running. I know that we're going to need a few more components so that it can make this home page complete, along with turning off the status bar, where the status bar covers all these GUI components and it doesn't look good. So when you push this button, what happens? You see how the drawer shift left, and you click it again, it moves out the left drawer image out of the way and put the home screen as the full. I'm going to go back and add in a few more GUI components. First one will be adding in the top navigation bar. I will add in a lesson 1 button and a lesson 2 button, and those, each individual button, when you push them, it will lead you to the new view controller. And then on the new view controller, we're going to have to be copying code snippets so that these will be able to work, meaning that every page when you create, you need to add in the same if-else condition and the left drawer button, and also all the GUI components if you're using it. For the last few components I added in, you see how time consuming it is to input these codes in line by line by line. Now watch me copy these code snippets, and from now on use these code snippets in the code snippets library, which is down here. This will be the best way to rapidly build a lot of your GUI components. So instead of building one GUI component, which is a left drawer button, and then another one, a background image and stuff like that, this is how we're going to build it. It's copying these code snippets and dropping into the code snippet library. I'm going to show you how to finish the rest of the GUI component by adding the code snippets for the view controller page 1 and view controller page 2. Then I'll demonstrate the entire workflow to you and how each code snippets are copied from the code snippet libraries. Last, look for my video called Disabling the Status Bar on top of the navigation bar in my Xcode for Beginners lessons. That video will show you step by step to disable the status bar, which you see here. And that's it for this lesson, and let's continue to the next video.